because if you're trying to build your business and you're following somebody who's doing your business, but 10 years in, you might get a little, like you wish you were doing something like that. And it's okay to have wishes, but turn them into goals and make them happen rather than wishing them to happen. Data, who's looking at it? You can do analytical observations with the platforms these days, especially in the professional platforms. You have analytic tools, Google Analytics, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You're trying to pay attention to trends. You're trying to pay attention to what's happening in the market, what people are saying. It's seasonal sometimes. What's happening in the autumn is different than what's happening in the summer, right? The seasons of your business, like what season do you sell the most in? What season do you sell the least in? That's data. Where's that data going? You want to build a spreadsheet? Do you want to have a whiteboard on the wall where you can write down some of these details? This is where you're doing your research. This is your marketing foundation, putting it into the ground, creating a warehouse of understanding of what's going on in your market. This is how you build your research. This is how you build your impact. So as you're building your business and you're starting a new business, a research strategy really needs to be kind of in your calendar. So in the next 7 days, look in your calendar and choose a day where you can do some a couple hours of poking around intentionally around LinkedIn groups, let's say, that are aligned with your business somehow. And if not in LinkedIn, then maybe Facebook. And also Instagram and Pinterest. Choose a platform, go on all of them, doesn't matter, and start figuring out what are other people doing in the market that you wish to sell in or are already selling in and want to increase your sales. So Dunbar research firm, it's like the more we create relationships, the bigger our exponential reach. So how can you develop a relationship with 150 people, 150 other individuals where you can maintain relationships and you can keep sort of developing their understanding, developing some of their wins, developing losses if you are empathetic and you don't mind listening to people have some of their hiccups, some of their problems. The relationships you're building through conversation, through inquiry, through celebration. Hey, that's really good. Wow, look at you. You're really killing it. This feels good for you. But what a big change from 12 months ago. What a big change from 3 weeks ago. What a big win for you. And the more you can kind of remember your people and remember who you're kind of connecting to, who they are, what they are like, their names. What you could do is keep a spreadsheet. I have a friend who I met back in 98, I think, maybe 99, and he has a spreadsheet of everybody he's met. And he cross-references it. And whenever he goes out for an event, he looks at his list and sees who potentially could be there, and he reviews their names. It's pretty impressive, actually. A little bit much for me, but I do forget names sometimes. So, how can you develop relationships with more people is the basic bottom line of this bit of conversation. What are you going to do that? So make some decisions in the next 7 days. Start. So I'd take this one step further, and I would even choose an ideal business in the market that's similar that you're talking about here. what business would you choose? What celebrity would you choose to endorse? Who would you think you could get to sell your products? So it doesn't always have to be. And when I went to a pitch competition for some high school kids this weekend, and they kept using big box store names as people who to sell their products at. First, it was kind of a mock product line development uh, project competition, and they kept using big box stores. So what I would suggest is, celebrity, of course, if you want someone to endorse your product, who would it be? That's one. And then next, if you could think of a place to sell your product where you could like send and deliver your product to, who could that be? So two different spheres of impact. Makes it a little bit more fun because you could see those places in Blue Ridge, Georgia that you would love to have your tables in, or your chairs, or your live edges. Who would you choose to be your representative? So just from the data perspective, sorry for the fuzzy screen, it is fuzzy. Check out the Facebook fans that Eminem has, 41 million. Megan Fox, 26 million. Core fans, so core fans, look at the difference. The percentage, such a small percentage. You get the point. I'll go back a slide. So if you have 150 people in your circle, and we're just humans in North Carolina, and we're not a big star with 41 million fans, if we look at 150 people that we know, what percentage of that number will we have an impact on? So you see the kind of the math there? It's really important for us to conceive of that when we want to make our reach happen, we have to increase the people that we're connecting to. And some of the best ways to do that is through your social media, your appearance in networking communities. When was the last time you did an in-person networking event where you shook people's hands and told them what you did? When was the last time that you posted something on social media, or you liked or followed a social media product or service? Finding your customers is engaging yourself at more external output, extroverted, getting out of your systems, getting out of your comfort zones, changing your habits. Those of us who have introverted sort of tendencies, the purpose there is to remember to recoup our energy. So taking some time off on Sunday or Saturday or Friday or Monday, depending on when your weekend hours are. Be compassionate to your time levels and energy levels. But you have to also balance that with the importance of the marketing purposes is what social media campaign are you willing to put together? What are you willing to post, words? Okay. So what I want you to be doing in the next 7 days, I want you to be thinking about when you're going to commit to doing some research for social media platforms that you can be committed to for a significant period of time, more than another one. So you're going to choose one, you're going to start going through it, liking and following, and becoming more involved in that. Unfortunately, if you are trying to stay off of social media, if you're trying to stay off of the computer, if you're trying to stay off of electronics, everything I say has to be in person. So you'll have to increase your miles on your driving and in your person, going to different groups and going to do different events. But at first, it's good to kind of build a relationship with the technology. It gives you really easy access to different conversations. And you will have the driving bits too. You're going to increase your social capital by increasing the number of people that you pay attention to, and the number of people that you pay attention to, your services exponentially will radiate out. That's where the referral stuff comes from. So when you're doing all this, what do you think people are paying attention to? Your choice of outfit, the word you choose, the relevancy. With marketing, the biggest thing is story. What story are you telling? How believable is it? What's the impact of the story on the customer? Is it telling a story about the day you chose to do this business? Is it the time that you chose to be this service? Is it the time that you had to move shops because you grew so fast, or you had to add to your shop? You had to add an outside carport covered to hold and protect the wood in the drying. Sometimes there's, growth is a good story. Like, where are you on the trajectory of your business? Find stories along that trajectory. If you're just starting, why are you doing this? What's your purpose for jumping in and making this happen? You have a reason. What is it? Create a story, a beginning, a middle, and end. Like, I would say no more than 250 words. So what's the relevance? So that's where you need to really know, the ideal client. That's where you need to do the looking on platforms for who's going to buy your products. That's where you're going to be, looking at your potential ideal client, and you're going to keep their demographics in mind, and you're going to keep your spending habits, and you're going to do some research on that. You're going to find out who and what they're selling to, buying themselves, if they're businesses. So you want to know who you're writing content for. Makes sense? And as you do that, you'll begin the process of reaching potential clients, and you'll start getting an idea of who you can capture to be inside of your funnel, inside of your strategic plan. Because we're looking for conversion rates. And the only way really to predict is by gathering data and then noticing trends, doing character analysis, paying attention to what people are looking for. So this is starting to kind of give you a sense of maybe some work to do, some things to pay attention to. So at this point, just real quick, what's something that you see yourself engaging in the next 7 days? Intentional, put it on your calendar, make it be something you do. Because these are the bedrock of conversions. Your steps, your actions, what you put into the community, how you put out for yourself. kind of pushed a little bit into this already, the idea of your segment, like who are your ideal clients, where are they coming from? Maybe you can even give them a name, like name the category. You can give, put them into groups of 150, right? We're talking about the segmentation. We're talking about you being able to identify down and just like understanding the complexity of all the different pieces and parts. So we also, we narrow down, we focus, we pay attention, we look at details, and we pay attention to um, the customers you were getting 5 years ago versus the customers you want in 5 years. Hopefully, they'll be different. Your price points are different. The quality of your product are different. Your ideal client has changed over the months or over the years. So you're really kind of taking your data that you've collected through testimonials, through likes and posts and follows on social media, through surveys you may have taken, through notes that you've received in the mail. So you see how these are very narrowing strategies. This is you getting on the A train to go uptown. This is focused initiatives to increase your understanding of who's looking at you, who's buying from you, and those are going to be similar people that you're going to then be turning the lens on to do your sales and your delivery to become new clients. And I've heard people say over and over again that the narrower the niche, the avatar, the ideal client, the narrower and narrower you get, the more results you get, especially in small business. Shotgun or rifle, the difference between the result of a shotgun shot and a rifle shot. Shotgun blast, many pellets go over and just create like a sea of result. A rifle is single shot, ching, bullseye, or a little bit close or a lot away, depending on your shot. But get that idea, like, do you have the capacity to do both? What would a shotgun marketing plan look like? What would a rifle marketing plan look like? Shotgun, rifle, size, scope, segmentation. So basically, you're looking at gathering information, creating some targeted, research, targeted relationships, targeted angles, and then you build a message around that. Whether it be on this or that or the other thing, a lot of times there's a lot of overlap, of course, because you're not going to be doing too much different in each segment, but you will be maybe changing the messaging a tad because of the segment. And then just activation, So part of today's next 7 days, what science, what research are you going to do? So data science is research, collecting information. Who are you going to focus on out of your results, your target market, your ideal client? I know it's hard to do a target market kind of situation. It's hard to narrow down. It's one of the hardest things for all of us. However, going through that work has some nice results in the sense that you start understanding really who's paying attention to you and how you can get more people like that. So collect information, go on social media, go to Get your demographics, do a customer evaluation, ideal client research, and attend to those pieces of information. Pick one of those bits of information, and put together a set of some content, maybe a video or some written words. I would say, less than 200 words, maybe even a title, 200 words, and some examples, and maybe a personal story. So with your data that you collect, you're creating a focused message. You have like a set of characteristics. Let's call it a title. Let's call it, let's just call it a title. And then you have some content, let's say 200 words. And then after you have your 200 words, maybe you can do a little short or a reel. Now, one thing to keep in mind, when you do a reel or a short, what happens, those 200 words sometimes really want to leach out. Stay on script. Stay on script. This is not a time to squirrel. This is a time to push into a script. And that's why I suggest write it down. Everybody, and then since you're staying on script and you have your messaging, just, encapsulated in some sort of set of patterns, maybe once a week. And then you start posting. And that's your activation. Try and get some connection, try and get some relationships, look at the outcomes. Was it a waste of your time? Did nobody like it? After you've done it for 2 months, do you notice a rise in relationship? And if you notice a rise, if you notice a change, why is the change? Did you change? If it went down, did you change your content? Did you change your approach? Did you do something different? You want to track your iterations of attempts. Like if you did a video selling live edged wood, and the first one was outside in the autumn, and it was gorgeous, and people were attracted to that also. And then you do one that's inside in the wood shop. Maybe there's a difference in the way people react to the videos. You never know. Something to pay attention to as well as part of setting up the target and setting up the messaging and setting up the platform is you really do need to set the stage. So make sure your workshop and your area or what you're doing is clean and tidy, because presentation really does make a difference. And as as you kind of hone your craft of paying attention to how you want to reach more customers and the outcomes you get, you can start changing the way you set yourself up, and you can target your social media strategies a little bit differently and maybe drive even more action towards your product or service. There's small steps that sometimes accumulate, small steps accumulate to larger steps, and then they just keep going. It's a pretty cool kind of way that works. So I mentioned this a little bit. It's it's a tool, it's a resource, it's something that you have as an advantage for you. If you have a Google My Business page, if you have a relationship with your Facebook business page or with other pages, Instagram if you're using it, if you end up using Pinterest, that give you some analytics too. Somehow you want to gather information, but you don't want to have to do the work yourself or hire someone to do the gathering. These programs are so easy now. Now, collecting means you have to have engagement. So when you don't have engagement, you don't have anything really to analyze. So you're trying to come up with multiple ways of creating engagement, so you can see what form works best on the web. And that's a whole nother set of conversations. But you get the point. There's data to collect. Demographics, gives you these ages, genders, often their affinity, like what they like, was it similar, give you some segmentations. So there's some good, data you can get from that. Take a picture of this. This is good, but this is also, on the Google Analytics introduction webpage when you get your Google My Business page all set up. And Google My Business is a pretty decent tool, useful. They keep track of everything, and it's something that can help you kind of stir up more business. And you get a lot of information when you engage. Who, what, where, when. And again, if you're not bringing people to a website, or if you're not bringing them to some tool online, then this is an exercise for you today in what is possible. I know for myself, it just wasn't really an option at first. Still kind of isn't that much of an option. I'm still getting a lot of clients, referrals, in the general area. I do get LinkedIn connections, and that's been successful. But ultimate is you need to decide if you want to be trying to capture analytics through online platforms. And if you do, just know there are possibilities for you once you begin that can help you in your data collection, which is part of finding your ideal client, part of finding your customers. So, a couple ways to do that. Go ahead and sign up your business for a Google My Business page. You'll get your analytics as an option. Get your tracking code if you're selling, and put that into everything. And then you can eventually start learning about who are your people, who's giving you their money, who's helping you pay your mortgage or food bills. So again, this is just a hope for you to kind of look. If you're at this place where you're engaging in Google My Business and you're ready to amp it up a little, then have at it. If you don't have a website, you don't have social media presence, just think of it as you're creating relationships and you're trying to figure out how those relationships are going and with whom those relationships are with. So you get a kind of a really good set of data. You can get interesting insights. You can get pay attention to maybe more than you need for information, but it starts helping you get in contact with the trends. One of the things I've heard often, especially in comparison between rural and urban marketing strategies, if your customers are more spread out, they're in more of a rural area, there's something different about marketing and sales versus when you're in a big metropolitan area. There's a different hustle going on. So what lane do you want to be in, and what kind of information do you want? So think about your Google Analytics and your Google tools as possible, just tool collection processes. Go to the Google console and just start building yourself a Google My Business account. gives you some opportunities to kind of mess around with trends. You can see what's going on, gives you some information. And it's a commitment. You're going to have to decide, is this going to be one of your channels that you use? Because we want to be able to engage. We want to be, create some intention. You've followed plenty of social media. I would hope by this point on business growth that you understand some of the patterns that people are using. So with content, you have, this is kind of the backbone for your marketing online with your website. How do you want to tell your story? How do you want to tell your story? Do you want to tell it from a builder's perspective, or do you want to tell it from the product's perspective, or you want to tell it from the client or the ideal client or the avatar or the niche, the market's perspective? Kind of sticking on the live edge real quick. I mean, people sometimes buy because of what they see. So maybe there's a visual perspective. People also want to see what possibilities there are, and some people geek out on types of wood, and what wood looks like when it's cut, when it's fresh, before it's planed and put through the machines to smooth out the tops and to put in the shine at the end. Maybe people want to see that process. Maybe even the tool benches and tools. People geek out on tools. I went to a big flea market and they had a Tonka truck tent. The guy had Tonka vehicles all over the place. And just looking at some of them that he's refurbished and looking at the old metal Tonka trucks as tractors and vehicles just was really cool. I really liked it. Something that might be helpful and useful to you to remember. What kind of story are you trying to tell? Who do you want the story to be capturing? Is it the builder? Is it the producer? Because there are also the people who just want to buy it. They don't care about any of this stuff. So there are different tracks of content you have just in those examples right there. So be thinking about how the content's going to be used, where you want to put it. If you have a top 10 list, if you have some education material, it's great to put that on in your website or on your social media platforms. And it makes for good content for buyers, for sales conversations. When you get to the chance of doing emails, because you have collected a bunch of email addresses, there's a certain strategy to that. Key point to email marketing is gotta have you gotta have the emails. You gotta have someone to send them to. So you've got to really need to go through all your networks and all your sales that you've already made and all your relationships that you've made, your social media platforms, the cards that you have in the place where you put business cards, people that you've put hand to hand to, said howdy to, and made develop relationships with. Get all those emails into a spreadsheet, Excel or Sheets, whatever. Names, numbers, emails, how you know the people, what their business name is. Really kind of put it in there, and it gives you a really strong email marketing campaign set of strategies. And then there's email protocols and how to write emails. Definitely clear subject line. When you're going through your email lists and you're getting your emails for the day, the week or the ones that you've been ignoring. You're looking at the subject line. Does it have any relevancy to me? Does this have any relevance to me, to my business, to my people? And if you have the time, if you time block it, you put yourself in the, you give yourself permission to do the work. You can unsubscribe to all the emails that you're getting. So if you imagine people might do that also too for you, but you want to entice them not to do that. You want to entice them to go to the call to action, to push on the button and to commit to a call. For instance, if you're onboarding new clients for your agency, you want them to step into commitment, even if it's for a consultation call for 20 minutes. That shows interest, and it'll give you some information, because you're going to have an onboarding call list, and you're going to just start looking for patterns. Always want to make sure that whatever you create is transferable between a laptop or a desktop and a phone. Each design you need to have it be transferable between different technologies. And your brand, color scheme, similar words that you've been using. Cool thing about a lot of us is we noodle around to come up with ideas, and hopefully you've been keeping your notes, and you have a business journal. You have something where you keep your trial and errors, your edited versions of how you say what you do, your stories that you've collected. I've often found it useful to even just circle and pull off the page and put into its own little vocabulary list. For your business, what you do and how you show up in the world, you should have your own vocabulary. And that gives you start building your search engine optimization patterns too, vocabulary, phrases. And, obviously, always whenever you write something, you want to check it and make sure it's grammatically correct and spelled correctly. And, who's not on their phones, who doesn't have their phones, who doesn't. I mean, I know a few people. So you want to make sure that's navigatable. You want to make sure that homepage is accessible. If you're doing a website, you want to make sure that your materials are searchable. Website, social media, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you're choosing, easy to get to, easy to interact with. When you have a call to action, if it has a form like a survey, or sign up for a newsletter, get this or this, make sure the buttons are quick, make sure it's, it's up top, that it's findable, because people, watch yourself. Like, how fast do you leave a page? How long do you stay on a page? Why do you stay on a page long? Why do you get off quickly? Look at those pieces of details, and there's certain ways to kind of look at that. But look at your own patterns. Are your ideal clients similar to you? How similar are they? If they're similar to you, then they're probably doing the same kind of thing as you. Similar, give or take. So pay attention to patterns of use, and make everything you do intentionally, and observe it, see how it gets worked. And this is, when we're looking at search engines, we want to get top of mind. We want to get to in front of the clients, that be mindful about, spending money on ads. At some point, you might want to start doing that. Maybe you're at that point now. Just start. If you haven't put any time or energy in your marketing campaign to find your customers, then you need to put some time and energy into doing all this upfront work of ideal client, what your stories are, who you're gonna reach to, how you're gonna do it, and then you can start talking about your search engine strategies, And that's when you really do need to have, yourself online with a website and Google connection. I mean, why would you use any other platform? you know, uh, Ping, Ding, Yahoo, any of these? So, you can get this certainly from the once you log on to Google My Business, it tells you everything. Couple thoughts you want to keep mindful of. The data, the census.gov, this is an awesome website. Here, I'll even put that in the chat. It helps you with demographics. You want to get, there's a lot of free resources out there for you to get your demographics, so you don't have to be too um, pay hungry right now. But do figure out a way to gather uh, your information. Choose one source next 7 days. In fact, you know what I'm doing? Hold on. I'm going to do something here because there's a website that you need to see. So there's this, just real quick, so the Small Business Center Network website, right? We have this. You have a link to this. I'll drop it in the chat box. I want to show you something. I think this is a great tool. You'll like this. Let me get this over here. So put this in here. There's this website. And this is the website that you go to sign up for these classes. And you know this. They have this link here for resources. And down here you have marketing research. EDPNC is a great website. And it has, industries. So you can do research on industries like this furniture manufacturing. So there's information here that you can get that might be useful to help in creating some content maybe, or just give you some information to kind of big view of the industry as a whole. So that's a resource. Another resource that I really like a lot is you got this North Carolina Cooperative Extension. So with your microgreens, we have some really good information from as you know, North Carolina State is the extension master here in North Carolina. So maybe there's some information there for you. You got agriculture and food, you got events. So if you want to do marketing and stuff, field days, this is a good site for you to go to if you're in food industry at all. This website right here has so much use. Score. Have you heard of Score? So I'm going to put this in the chat box too, just to have. Open these URLs up and have them in your device and save them underneath your business development tab for your folders. But they have templates and resources, a lot of really great opportunities for connection. They have workshops and events as well. And you can also get a free mentor through the federal government. SCORE is federal, Service Corps of Retired Executives is what it means. And it's a great program. It'd be super useful. And you can get some ideas and you can kind of push ahead on some of your decisions. These template galleries, this is what I want to show you. This has templates, cash flow, financial history, financial statements, marketing and sales templates, okay? So they have a product service description worksheet template, marketing plan, there's an e-guide, so you can go on there and the e-guides that they have are 64 pages long sometimes. Like this one right here, this is such a cool process. Check this out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open this up for you. Look at this. So hold on, I'm gonna real quick stop share, start a new share, and pull this open. Just did that. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. All right. So this is a small business marketing plan. And this is a 4-sheet document. This is a really nice, thorough way to do some marketing to find your ideal clients. So get this brochure in your in your bin. I'll put this website here, and there's one more. So I want you to have one more tool for the marketing. It's a really good one. It'll save you. It'll give you something to read. Now going back to the Small Business Center Network page again. This page, scrolling down again. Remember in Resources tab. Okay, and I want you to go to Small Business Technology Development Center. So I'm going to open up this one as well. This one, folks, is a gem. This is such a great, and this is the one that had the big, has the big packets. The Small Business Technology Development Center, they have resources, and they have this great resource publications. So they have all these publications. They have startup guides, capital opportunities, and this is the digital marketing guide. So when you download this guide, this is the one that I was saying was 46 pages. This is fairly up to date. I went to an event and was able to pick up a paper copy of this. So I'm able to, I like the paper copies, but you got to go to events to get it. I guess you can connect with them. So just look at the contents page here real quick, like folks. Look at all these, preparing for digital marketing, how to set your goals, channels, how to identify your channels that you want. A lot of stuff that I've been talking about, but this will give you something you can look at later. So it's the Small Business Technology Development Center's guide on digital marketing. Okay, so you have a great set of resources that I just landed for you. Now we'll go back. So yeah, demographics. We've been talking about, the planning, expanding into new markets. Best way to expand into new markets is you got to get a read on your current market. Pay attention to what you're getting now and where you're getting now. Okay. SBA is another good site. Here's SBA. Copy that, put that in there for you. Wonderful resource. And as you can see, it's just packed full of business guides. Check this out. Look at all those resources. Startup costs, funding your business. It's perfect site to keep on your desktop or on your phone. You're registering your business, even managing your business strength of cybersecurity, marketing, and sales. Here we go again. I don't know why that, oh, there it is. So you got plan, spread the word, choose. So again, some more information. Okay. So the SBA site is a really awesome one as well. So don't forget to look at that. We talked about the Census Bureau, give them a good one. Some data tools for your demographics. I gave you that already. SBA, they have statistics, so you can go there and you can read their statistics. You see how they have, what's going on in the economy. October fruit and vegetable industry. What, basically gives you some good information, and you can go to different arenas, different Small Business Economic Bulletin back from May, so you can read some information about what's going on in the industry. And when we do research and we look into our topics that are important, what happens is we are able to kind of start seeing the environment where we're seeking to interact. So that's why these key economic indicators. This is a good one. This is the U.S. Department. So Bureau Analytics. I'll put this in the chat box. That's there. So we're looking for economic indicators. We're looking for ways to see how we are able to push into the arena, right? This is all marketing. The BDS is a great website, gives you information. You can poke around and get some comparisons, and you can build some charts from all the data they've collected to help you in making some decisions. What if you're at the place where you want to scale? How are you going to convince and has I don't know, just you need to create data for your business plans. Industry research, you have the North American Industry Classification System, NAICS. This is a great website too. So to get there, let me just do a quick little, actually, hold on, maybe that's live. Let me just check. Nope. I'm just going to put this in the quick like and do a quick search for us so I can put it in the chat box. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're finding this helpful, giving you some kind of resources to do your independent research and discover what your next step's going to be. So demographics, different types of people, different ages. If once you identify your market, you'll be able to know where they're looking. What mobile device are they looking at? What online source are they looking at? Where are they getting their information? When you look at different age groups, they have different ways of gathering information. Does your client fit in one of those segments? Then look at how they're using, and that helps you identify your next 7 days of research and what platform you're going to use. Nielsen ratings, that's a possibility for research if you're looking for something. Lists, finding, different lists for key demographics. You can type them in and get some ideas, characteristics, economics, psychographics. How do people think in different households? What kind of realities are they living in? Does their life situation dictate their financial choices, and will their life situation get in the way of them spending money for your product? I have had many clients or on the consult call, yeah, man, I really need a lot of help. I could use your help. I could tell that we have a good connection. I just really don't have, spendable cash right now. That's, yeah, that happens. And, but at the same time, in those initial phone conversations and those initial people looking at the product, we still have to represent ourselves and represent our company in a, values driven kind of way. So I try to give a little bit of support those first consult calls, give a little homework. So a client has a potential client or someone who's just had a consult call at least has something that they gained from interacting with my business. Some bit of knowledge, maybe a pamphlet or a flyer if you're an in-person business. Even if they don't buy, what's something that they can take out that has your name, your location, how you do business, your value statement, something in their hands, so it's like part of their journey. And the whole point of list companies is, identifying how to get those people. Lots of associations, if you are doing microgreens, is there a microgreen journal? Is there somewhere you can do some collaborations with other microgreen industries? Is there a an agricultural connection? Is there a type of households? Sometimes people who buy microgreens have a particular lifestyle that they live, and they might want to maybe you could connect to that kind of culture in your dig. National chapters, local chapters of particular uh, industry specific uh, to your industry, to your clients, to your product, to your services. Magazines, articles, newspapers, podcasts, online articles, feed sources, white papers. You want to really dive into potential resources to be able to understand which ones are going to benefit you and which ones you can create a relationship with. When you're selling products to tourists of North Carolina, you might want to maybe connect with some of the North Carolina tourism magazines or rat cards in the chambers around or in the visitor centers at the borders, at the interstates, somehow get yourself connected to get your name into other resources. If that's the way that you're going to be able to start getting some repetition and people seeing your name and your product and your services and your colors and your brand and your everything over and over again. You're trying to build the circumference of connection and the number of people connected. You want it to increase in size. How can you do that? By interacting with trade associations or with journals or with other periodicals. Advertising eventually, if you get to that point, maybe even get someone to interview you if you have a particular cool product, and asking for support. Hey, I'm doing a survey, could you fill it out? I'm looking for these pieces of information. Any help would be helpful. All your help was helpful. Please help. A lot of times those of us who are go-getters and self-starters have a difficult time asking for help. That's me. I've learned, definitely been learning over the years, but I know when I was starting out, I got this, I can figure it out. So, oh my gosh, how do I do this? I need help. There's a difference also too, sometimes in the technique of, between like the masculine and feminine, there's a little subtlety of that. Personality types, your basic modality and how you relate to the world. Again, we're talking about ads. Ads come if you're ready to spend money on ads. I've been talking about this, networking groups, events, open houses, webinars. You can do webinars yourself, put them up on YouTube. It's like how to choose a this or a that. Guest contributors, partnerships, a joint venture with somebody who's in a similar business or even a different business. We can create a collaboration. Certificates, Media coverage, maybe you can have some interviews with people who have bought your product or use your product. You can go and interact with them somehow, maybe on Zoom or social media, Google Meet, or go and take pictures of the placement of the product in their house or have them send them to you. Press media coverage, you get permissions. For you, press media coverage, of course, get interviews, get presentations, get to speaking, go to association trade meetings, get on the speaking circuit, interact with people that way, stand up and communicate your knowledge to a larger group of people. You can do workshops, telecasts, online classes. What are some ways that you can get out there and increase your presence in the community? Fairs, pop-ups. You can go to a similar business and set up maybe a pop-up in their warehouse or in their store or in their office front. Wanting to find ways to create connections that are dissimilar to your normal routines. Because all we're talking about here is changing up your routines, making things go a little bit differently, committing to new strategies, finding new ways to get into the heads and the pockets of your ideal clients. So something live, something online, talking about the social media and web pages. Get to know your clients, get to know what they're having difficulties with or at. Maybe they have a problem and you're the solution. And then anytime you can create a contact with emails or phone numbers, it's awesome. And tell people where you're going to be. Give a calendar of expectation. When I go to events, I like to sign up on their Eventbrite or the meetups and put my name in there. Because I look at who else is going to be there, who I'm going to be talking to, potentially if they come, if I go. And when you start getting to where you have a lot of content and a lot of kind of interactions and, you have emails that you're sending out, some sort of CMS, some sort of content management system is always helpful. So we're talking about finding your ideal clients. We're talking about finding your customers. We want to know who they are. We want to know where they are. We want to know how we're going to get hold of them and how they're going to see us. So there's a lot of resources I'm putting down in here. I guess that's a dead link. Sorry about that. And then you have, what people per capita, what they're spending, what their life is like, their houses are like, their healthcare is like. Why is that important? It helps give you an idea of how to create marketing materials. And it might not be up your alley, and you don't have to use this. But you do want to learn about what people are doing, how they're doing it. So we've talked about the SBA, we talked about the BLS, talked about the consumer trade associations. Go to your public library. Go to your university library that's nearby. Data. SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey? It's where you can build a survey, create them, sign in with your emails, and you can send these to clients. And that's a benefit when you're doing when you have email campaigns. So your ideal client is going to come from somewhere. Where are they coming and how do they behave? what are their habits? And are they a potential segment that you can connect to? All making sense? Yeah. Focus groups, that's always a cool thing. Bring people together. Create a conversation. Ask specific questions. Look for results. And, definitely vet your questions, make sure they apply to what you're trying to achieve. And, all these things give you information and help you better understand your customers, your potential customers. Maybe you're trying to break into a new market and you want to do some, focus group studies to see if that new market will even accept your product or your service. You can ask 5 people. You can bring them in, treat them to brunch or something, and have a conversation. So we've talked about, a lot of behaviors of finding your ideal client. We've talked about, different social media platforms. We've talked about research strategies. Find a way for you to incorporate data research, all those different strategies, and then be messing around with and doing character analysis and study of your ideal client and how they behave and how they emote. Like, what are their buying habits? Why do they buy that way? How come people only reach out for help when their back is up against the wall? Do you know people who are proactive? Are those your clients? And so as you're finding customers and ideal clients and you're niching down and you're getting closer to understanding who they are, that there's a conversation that needs to be started to start giving them permission to find you. And that's all the resources that we've been talking about: websites, blogs, Facebook pages, other resources, lists. Get onto lists, become, top of mind for people, referrals. Reach out to your small business center and set up an appointment. So you want to be able to define your target market. You want to develop strategies to connect with them. You want to, really develop a marketing plan that works for you and your ideal clients. Mess around with messaging. Try different messages. And then start exploring. So we started with this. Who are your ideal clients? Put it in the chat box if you want, or you can write it on a sticky note. Who are your ideal clients? Do you have a couple of thoughts? You can put it in the chat box. So what's your plan? What's your strategy in the next 7 days? Where are you going to start collecting information? Where are you going to store the information you collect? And then how are you going to put yourself in front of those people? It is a strategy that you develop that you get to stick to. Sometimes, there's a hope that you can connect hand to hand. How can you do that? What can you do to pass something off? This is a great way to build a relationship. It's a way to create a contact list. It's a way to have your value expand. Products or services. Don't forget, you want to study your competition who are doing what you are wanting to do or have been doing what you want to do. Where are they going? What tactics are they using? What strategies do you see them that seem to be working well? Yeah. It's good to build relationships with people, especially in small business. It's the only way to grow. So you're looking for, your target user. Who are they? What do they want? How much do they want to pay? Where are they? How are you going to promote to them? Well, thanks, folks. Appreciate the time today. I hope you were able to get some value on how to find your customers. Don't forget to reach out to your small business center, create a conversation with the director, get on their. I'm going to give you a few minutes to get those websites and all those URLs that I just dropped in here for you. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go to this hustle and launch. What do we have here? You put it in here, marketing ads. Okay. Let's see. What do you got? You got a blog? Okay, cool. Look at that. Plans, plenty of experience, contact, acquisition intelligence, marketing, web design. Okay. Follow us. There's Instagram there. Okay. So we have that one. What is this? Is that the website? Yeah, that's the website. And then X, go there. Cool. Well, folks, I think this was, a decent little hit for you. Got some information, got some websites. I'm going to do a quick little thing here so you can do the same. I'm going to go and I'm just going to scroll down and I'm going to save all of those into one chunk. And that should give you a nice box for every one of your um, links that I shared today. And I'll do it one more time and get that text out of there. I really appreciate your time. I hope this was of use. There you go. For sure. Yes. I wouldn't put it in there. I didn't ask, it's like people, when you go to these webinars, don't forget to use it as a networking opportunity. Some people don't have something yet, but that's okay because others do, and you can learn. All right. Well, my job is done. Any specific questions or desires? Any last minute thoughts? All right. Well, thanks for being here. And I hope that we get to see each other again soon. Remember, it takes time. I'll leave this open a little bit so you can get those URLs out if you haven't already.